Your webcam is probably the weakest link in your entire setup, and you don't even realize it until you see what you've been missing. Because once you experience a camera that actually understands lighting, motion, color, and real world streaming needs, it's hard to go back. And that's exactly where the YOLOLIV YoloCam S3 steps in. Not, I'm filming this whole entire video on the YoloCam, by the way. So if you want a video demo, this is it right now. This is me on the YoloCam. Not as just another webcam though, but as a serious upgrade that quietly solves a ton of problems like creators and streamers and even remote workers deal with every single day without thinking about it. And if you're even remotely considering upgrading your video quality, you're going to want to check the link in the description, because this is one of the pieces of gear that actually earns its place in your setup. The first thing you notice with the YoloCam S3 is that it doesn't behave like a typical plug-and-play webcam where you're stuck tweaking settings forever just to not look washed out or grainy. This thing is designed with a much smarter image processing pipeline that adapts to different lighting conditions in real time, meaning you're in a dim room, a bright office, or dealing with mixed lighting from windows and LEDs. It balances the exposure and color in a way that just looks natural without constant manual adjustment. And that alone saves you time and frustration every time you go live or hit record. But where it really starts separating itself is the sensor quality and the lens clarity. Because instead of the soft, slightly blurry look most webcams give you, the S3 delivers sharp detail without over-sharpening artifacts, and that means your face looks clean, your background doesn't turn into mush, and your overall video has that polished professional edge people subconsciously associate with higher-end setups, which matters way more than people think. And when it comes to keeping viewers engaged, let's talk about frame consistency, because smooth motion is one of those things you don't notice until it's bad. And cheap webcams tend to struggle with fluctuating frame rates, especially in low light. But the YoloCam S3 maintains stable performance, so your video doesn't stutter or drop frames when you move, gesture, or shift positions, which makes your content feel more fluid and easier to watch, especially during long streams or presentations. Another huge advantage here is how it handles dynamic range, meaning it doesn't blow out highlights or crush shadows when lighting conditions aren't perfect. So, you've ever had a window behind you turn your face into a silhouette, or had your screen glow wash out your features? The camera does a much better job keeping everything balanced. And again, that's one of the subtle upgrades that massively improves your overall production quality without you having to think about it. And if you're someone who moves around a bit or likes a more natural conversational style on camera, the autofocus performance is fast and reliable without that annoying hunting effect where the image constantly shifts in and out of the focus, which is something that absolutely kills professionalism in a video. So have that locked in clarity gives you one less thing to worry about. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, because the YoloCam S3 isn't just about raw image quality, it's also about convenience and workflow. And that's something a lot of people overlook when choosing gear, because the best camera in the world doesn't help you if it slows you down or makes your setup more complicated. And this is where the S3 keeps things simple and straightforward integration into streaming software, video calls, and recording tools without needing a bunch of extra drivers or wired setup steps, which means you can plug it in, get it dialed in quickly, and actually focus on creating instead of troubleshooting. And yes, if you're serious about your content, having gear that just works is underrated, because consistency is what builds the momentum, and momentum is what grows your channel or your brand. Another thing worth mentioning too is how well the camera performs for different types of users, because whether you're a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer, or someone doing like Zoom calls or even recording online courses, the S3 adapts to those cases without feeling like overkill or underpowered. And that versatility makes it a solid investment instead of something you'll feel you need to replace in a few months. And speaking of investment, if you're thinking about upgrading your setup, don't overcomplicate it. Start with the things that actually change how people see you, literally. Because your video quality is one of the first impressions you make, and improving that has an immediate impact. So again, check the link in the description if you want to grab the YoloCam S3 for yourself, because it's one of those upgrades that you notice instantly. Now, let's get into the build quality because a lot of webcams feel like cheap plastic afterthoughts. But the S3 has a more solid premium feel that gives you confidence it's going to hold up over time. And the mounting system is stable enough that you're not constantly adjusting it or worrying about it shifting mid-use, which might sound minor, okay? But it adds up when you're using it daily. And audio-wise, while most people will still prefer a dedicated microphone, the onboard audio is usable in a pinch, which adds another layer of convenience for quick calls or recording when you don't want to get up and set up your full gear. And again, it's about flexibility, and having options makes your workflow smoother. Another standout feature is how well it handles color accuracy, because a lot of webcams either oversaturate or wash everything out. But the S3 keeps skin tones realistic and avoids the weird artifactual look, and that can make you seem less authentic on camera, and authenticity matters more than ever when you're trying to connect with an audience. Let's also touch on low light performance, because it's not everyone has a perfect lighting setup, okay? And while good lighting will always help, the S3 performs surprisingly well even when conditions aren't ideal, and reducing the noise and maintaining the clarity better than most webcams in its class, which means you don't have to spend a ton of money on lights just to look decent on camera. And if you do have a solid lighting setup, this camera scales with it, giving you even better results instead of bottlenecking your quality, which is exactly what you want from a piece of gear you're planning to use long term. Another thing creators will appreciate is how the camera minimizes the need for constant tweaking, because once you dial it in, it stays consistent. And that reliability is huge when you're trying to produce content efficiently without wasting time adjusting settings every session. And if you're someone who records a lot of talking head content, tutorials, or live streams, having that consistency means your video looks cohesive from one upload to the next, which helps build a recognizable visual style. So when you add it all up, the image quality, the performance, the ease of use, the reliability, and the versatility, the YOLOLIV YoloCam S3 ends up being one of those rare pieces of gear that actually delivers on its promises without unnecessary hype, and that's why it stands out in a crowd market full of webcams that all claim to be the best, but don't really move the needle in a meaningful way. If you're tired of looking slightly off on camera, dealing with inconsistent lighting, or just knowing your video quality could be better, this is a straightforward upgrade that fixes those issues without adding complexity to your setup, and that's a win. So if you're serious about improving how you show up on camera, whether it's for content creation, streaming, or professional calls, don't overthink it. Check the link in the description and pick up your own YOLOLIV YoloCam S3. It's got a tongue twister name. Because this is one of those upgrades that it pays off immediately, and it keeps paying off every time you hit record and go live. And once you see the difference, you'll wonder why you didn't make the switch smoother. I use this camera every day, sometimes 5 to 6 hours a day it's staring at me. So it runs flawlessly, and the image quality looks absolutely beautiful. So pick it up. Check the link in the description. Also, if you found value in today's video, please subscribe. Without you, I cannot grow on this channel. I need that subscription base. So please subscribe. I would highly appreciate it. Also, check out this video on the right, and it could help you on your journey as well. Also, comment down below. Anything positive, I try to comment right back to. And anything negative, I just don't waste my time. Have a good day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Check out the KML and the Amazon link, and buy you one today. Take care.